Hello, Matt the Science Magician here. I'm going to be presenting for the next half an hour lots of objects of wonder that I hope will make you curious. Now sadly, because of the lockdown going on at the moment, I'm unable to visit you in person to present my science magic shows. So instead I'm taking you down to my workshop and studio where I'll be presenting the tricks from there. I hope they make you go wow, but also I hope they get you thinking more about the science of all around us. Everything I'm going to show you today has all got some sneaky science behind the scenes, even if on occasions it appears like magic. I would like you today to experience lots of wows. But don't just stop at the wow moments. Go further and try and figure out how things work. Try and find an explanation behind what you see. But don't stop there either. Go one step further and go on to the, now I wonder what we can use this for. Now I wonder what else. Now I wonder what if. Now what you'll find in this show is, even though I'm using science and maths, I still love being creative. I still use my artistic skills because they go together. Let me show you something else I made, similar to that science and magic shape I made before. Have a look at this, see if you can work out what this word is. In fact, it isn't just one word, it's two. If I turn it this way, maybe you can see the word right. And if I turn it this way, maybe you can see the word left. And it's not been printed, it's been cut out. I spent an evening carefully cutting this out. And if you shine a bright spotlight through it, you get this wonderful shadow pattern on the wall. This is a really simple illusion you can make yourself. If you have some train track like this, or if you go to a takeaway and get some hot drinks, they often come with these coffee sleeves. And if you place one beneath the other one, so the curves are in the same direction, you have this illusion where the curve at the bottom seems bigger than the one at the top. Even if you swap the order around, the one at the bottom seems larger than the one at the top, and that's because your eyes are comparing this curved surface with this curved surface. And because that one's longer, it seems like the overall shape is bigger. We call it the Boomerang Illusion or the Jastro Illusion. You can make it from these easily to find objects or just make your own boomerangs from a piece of paper. There's lots of instructions on this link that's appearing on screen right now. They take you to my website where there's some PDF printouts for the illusions that I'll be showing you. There's also some extra videos with other illusions and other things you can explore. It's all free to download. So go there after the workshop, have a look at it, have fun playing around. For now though, let's watch a montage of some of the illusions that I created last year featuring shadows and mirrors, and then I'll explain how we can make some of them. In that last montage of videos, you will have spotted some illusions with toilet rolls. This is something I invented about 18 months ago, and I want to show you how to make it. It's dead easy. What you need is a toilet roll, and then you need to cut what we call this sawtooth pattern in the top. And I'll show you how to make that. It takes you about 20 seconds, and then when you place this in front of a mirror, it creates an illusion where one arrow points one way and the other points the other. It's what we call an ambiguous object. So in order to make this, what you need to do is, first of all, squash the toilet roll, then take your scissors and cut about 1 centimetre through both bits of cardboard. And then it means you've got the cuts on either end. And then what you need to do next is you start cutting at the top of one of those cuts you've made. And you need to be careful with your fingers here. And you cut and you work all the way around, trying to go in a straight line, and aim to end at the bottom of that second cut. So you're cutting out a triangle. And then you repeat that. Start at the top of the second, cut down, cut all the way around, and you end up creating that sawtooth pattern, which when you put in front of a mirror creates the illusion. Now, in that montage you've recently watched, there was another illusion involving an empty frame and some Coke cans. And I'm going to tell you a way you can create your own. So the first thing you need is you need an empty frame. And the second thing you need is a desk light. That's going to be shining a bright light onto the frame. We only use the light at the start to create a shadow, just to make it easier for us to do this. And then the final thing you need, just for now, is some paper and some pens. Now, I've already cut this paper out, and I'm going to show you a series of photos and talk you through. But what you do to start off with is you effectively get your big piece of paper and you set it up like this with your frame. You shine a bright light on, and that will create a shadow from the frame's edge. And what I've got here, this wedge shape here, is where I've drawn a line and cut out around the edges. So let me talk you through the steps. So the first step is you get a piece of paper and you place your empty frame in the middle, and then you shine a light on that. You get it so the shadow is within that piece of paper. You trace it out with a pen. And then where you've traced it out, you also want to extend the edges along where the frame is to the sides of the piece of paper. Then carefully cut along those lines you've drawn. And if you line it up right, what you'll find is, from the angle that the light was at, if you look with one eye, or you look with a camera, the area behind here, this red area, will completely line up with the frame, and it will hide that edge. And it will look like you're looking into a mirror. Once you've done that, then get some toys, 2 sets of identical toys, and set them up symmetrically either side of the frame. And then when you view it from that special angle, it will look like you've got a mirror there. And if you want to be fun with that, you can play with shadows. One of the telltale signs is you're looking at a mirror is when the shadow's a bit weird. So maybe put the light from the side and then the shadows won't give it away. Maybe play around with putting some text, some words there, but the words on the other side of the mirror are going to be upside down. So you have to make a second set with the words upside down. So have fun with this idea of creating your fake mirror frame. Watch this orange ball really carefully. One of the things I've been playing with this summer is bottles and glasses, because if you've ever looked through a bottle of water, you'll notice, and you can probably see with my t-shirt changing behind it, the light is bent. These bottles and glasses of water act like a lens. Now, some of you who wear glasses will know that a lens in your glasses bends the light. And there's some fun science magic you can do with that. The first thing you can do is, if you get a bright coloured object like a pen and you put it behind here, you should be able to see the pen. However, if you move the pen to the side, it enters a blind spot. It should disappear from sight. If we turn it this way, it disappears. There are two blind spots either side, and you can make things disappear by placing it behind there. So you could do it with a pen. If you want to be clever, you could take a coin and show the coin behind there and then move the coin to the side and it goes, move it this way and it goes, or turn the bottle and you can make things appear and disappear. Because you've got those two blind spots, we can do a change. I've got a glass here, and on the other side of the glass I've got some printing. I've printed a letter C and a letter W. Now if I turn the glass here, you should be able to see the letter C, and the W is in the blind spot. And if I turn it this way, you can see the W but not the C. I can swap between two letters. And I thought what we could do, if we could just do it in one glass, it's okay, but if we get loads of glasses with lots of letters behind them, we can make a big line of them and swap letters, not just letters, but whole words around. I had this card printed. This card has two words on it. It has the word reverse, and then it also has the word reverse reversed. These are tiny little lenses all side by side, and it swaps between two slightly different images. There's another fun thing we can do with glasses and water. I've printed this arrow here, and if I was just to place the arrow behind here, not much would happen. It gets bent a little bit by the water, by that water lens. But if I put the arrow a bit further back, the arrow should swap direction. So we have it one way. When you look through the glass, it's a different direction. And I set myself the challenge of seeing how many different flips I could have using lots of different glasses. I'm going to show you something really fun you can make. You need a bucket of water to start with, and you also need two plastic cups. Now on the first cup I've drawn a tiny little sailing boat, and on the second one I've got a triangle, and I can place the sailing boat in the triangle. Some of you may have heard the made-up story about the Bermuda Triangle. It's this idea that in the sea there's a place where lots of ships vanish. It's made up, it's not true. But let's see if we can make this Bermuda Triangle make the ship disappear. Again, we've got a blind spot. If you look from the side, that ship is still there. But if you have a top-down view, the light is bent and you can no longer see the ship. The science behind this, well, it's important that you have the two layers because you want a little gap of air in between the two pictures. If you just did it with one, it wouldn't work. You need that tiny gap of air between the two to do the special bending light magic. So you can do it with cups. I also made up things like this. I've got the word here, vanish, and it's in a black frame, and we can place this in here and vanish vanishes. And we've also got here a self-portrait, a picture of myself here. And if we put that in here, some of me disappears. the way this works is that, well, again, it's got some air trapped between the two bits of plastic before I put it in the laminator. Now, in the fish trick, I used a different blind spot. I had the fish hidden behind the glass. Now, if you look through the side, you'll be able to see it. However, if you look through the top, you wouldn't be able to see the fish because the light is bent in a strange way. It creates that other blind spot, which means I can reach inside here and then pull out the fish and drop it in the water. And it looks like it appears from nowhere, using that special property of a lens bending the light. That row of glasses created an invisibility cloak to hide the word invisible. Each of those letters was exactly in one of those blind spots, so when you look through the glasses, they were hidden. It was only when you spun them round that you could see that the word was there. That was using water to act as lenses to create invisibility, but there's other ways to make things invisible. Have a look at this next image. See if you can spot the object before it shows itself. This was an invisible cube that I created, and if you want to make your own, there are some instructions that you can download and print your own version. What you'll find is when you go to the PDF, you'll find there's 2 sheets of paper to print. I'd suggest you do it on thin cardboard though. The first sheet will explain how to make your cube. You just cut it out, fold it into a cube shape, glue the tabs, and then also put a bit of tape on. It just makes it a bit stronger. The second sheet is the checkerboard pattern underneath. You will need to cut out a hole in the bottom, and then when you've done that, you'll stick the cube exactly over the hole, bend the tabs on the bottom of the cube through and tape them down. That will keep the cube in the right spot. You'll also find there's a little tiny black dot in one of the corners. That's to help you line things up, because what you want is the corner of the cube to just hide that black dot when you look at it. And you can either set it up looking through a camera, and if you do, I suggest you use a tripod if you've got one. It just helps keep things steady. If not, close one eye and look and position yourself so that black dot in the corner is hidden by that corner there. And if you get things right, it will look like this cube blends in with the background. You may want to colour it in, put your own patterns on there. Now, I said close your eye, and the reason for that is we've got 2 eyes giving us binocular vision, which allows us to see in 3D. By closing one eye, we lose some of that ability, and it makes it easier to hide a 3D shape on a flat piece of paper. What you just saw on the video was this pattern here, and if you watch the video back or if you go to the website, you can download a PDF with the dimensions for this to make it. If you line this up right, it will start to look like you're looking at a 3D cube, and it's really nice. And then of course I set myself the challenge, can I create an illusion of an illusion to be able to then pull it off the board. As a magician, I'm a huge fan of using mirrors for optical illusions. This is a nice little investigation you can do just using 2 mirrors, and this looking at the patterns that can be formed, particularly when you put like an object, like a ball in there, and you change the angle between the mirror, and you can see the different number of reflections appearing in there. Here's some other mirror-based optical illusions that I've created. One of my favourite science stunts involves a drinks can. Now it looks like it's staying up by magic. It's not. It's just very simple science. The thing is, if you try this with a full can of drink, it will tip over. And if you try it with an empty can of drink, it will tip over as well. What you need to do is you need to have your drink half full of liquid. And when it's half full, and you put it like this, what you find is half the weight of the can and the water is on this side, and half the weight is on this side, and because it's half and half, it's balanced. It's a bit like when you go to a playground and you go on a seesaw. When two people weigh the same at either end, it doesn't go up or down. If one side's heavier, then it goes down, or it goes down this way. Now, if you're going to try this, can I give you some top tips? First tip is do it outside, and then if it does spill, it's not going to make a mess. Second tip, even though you can see I've got a Coke can here, I always do it with water inside, because if it does spill, even if I'm outside, I don't want the sticky, stainy mess of Coke going everywhere. Water is easier to clear up. So once you've done that, you can then start making things a bit more interesting. If you have a drinks bottle like this, and it's got one of these sports caps, you can balance a can on the top like this. You want a lid that doesn't bend up, because if it bends up, the can will roll off the side. You want it bending down. It's what we call concave. It's like a bowl, and it will always roll into the middle. So have a play with that. See if you can get a can balancing, and then be creative where you balance it. But at the same time, be thinking, where's a sensible spot to do it? So that's one uncanny balance. Let me show you another one. This involves something I bought from a science museum. It's a flying pterosaur, and it's been carefully balanced to perch just by its beak on my finger. Now what's happening with this is you've got some extra weights here and here, and it looks like it's going to be heavier at the tail and the feet end and tip this way, but because these heavy weights are here, it counterbalances it and stops it falling. So you can balance it on your finger, you can balance it on a bottle lid, and it's really fun to play with. The only problem is this cost me about £12. And I love doing things which you can do with things around your own home. So let me show you how to make your own flying pterosaur. What you need 2 forks, you need a cork, and you also need a tiny little matchstick. Now you can see here, my matchstick is just sticking in the end of the cork. And I've already made some holes here. I'm going to be careful when I push the forks in that I don't jab it into my finger. And what you've got here is you've got your flying pterosaur. And it works in a very similar way to the plastic one I showed you. You've got this point here where the beak, where the matchstick is, where it balances on a bottle. But I was thinking, let's go back to this can for a moment. If there's too much weight on this side, it'll tip this way. If there's too much weight on this side, it'll tip this way. But if the weight goes exactly in the middle, and if you think about it, a seesaw or a playground, if someone sits right in the middle, it doesn't tip it either way. There's this line going straight up from the middle that anything goes on that line, it's not going to tip this way, not going to tip that way. Some of you may have already spotted, just there, there's a matchstick. I've stuck that to the side of the can. That's the point which is straight above the bottle lid. That's going to be my perch where I'm going to try and land this flying pterosaur. There we go. We've now got a double balance. We've got a balance on the lid and a balance on the side of the can. So that's two balances. Let's extend things further. I've got this wedge here. This wedge has been carefully designed. It's got a hole in the middle, which allows me to take a bottle and this becomes a seesaw. But it's too heavy at this end. It's tipping this way. So I'm going to add my plastic drinks bottle there to be a counterweight. And now we've got this lovely balance here that it looks like it should tip over, and yet we've got half the weight this side, half the weight this side. But we can extend this further because I've already showed you I can balance a can and that bottle, and I can balance a flying fork pterosaur on the can. So let's see if we can get 3 levels of balancing going on. Now, just to help myself, I'm going to do a few things. It's not cheating, it just gives me a helping hand. So first of all, this is a spirit level. It's what builders use to make sure everything's nice and level. So I've just got a bubble at the top that just helps me find the level spot. So that's sorted now. I'm going to add these here. These are just tubes that will be there as protection. In case I knock it, then these will catch it. They're not actually holding it up. They're just there like a safety net. Okay, so let's give this a go to start with. I'm going to take my mic off as well because I need to get this. It's good. So let's just check this is working. So we've got 2 levels of balance now. Four levels of balance going on. We've got a balance point there, balance there, balance there, and balance there. Over the summer, I set myself a really big challenge. I'd decided I would try and make a whole tower of cans. Now, you'll notice here, I've got on here a sports cap that I've cut and glued to one side. That is now the platform that I can put a second can and balance it on there, maybe a third and a fourth. Now, I'd love to show you this balancing right now, but seriously, I've just spent 20 minutes trying to get it to work and it's not working for me now. However, I'm going to show you a video that I took a few weeks ago at the end of a very long evening, at least 3 hours of trying to balance these cans, and you'll see the relief and the amazement on my face when I finally get it to work. Well, I hope you've enjoyed seeing these illusions. I hope they've fooled you, and I hope they've given you lots of ideas for things you want to try later on. Just before we finish, I've got an illusion inspired by the Dear Zoo book. Well, that was completely silly, and I think some of you will have an idea how that was done. Now, if you read the book, you'll know when the elephant is delivered, he was too big, so they sent him back. So let's see if we can make the elephant go back to the zoo. Well, that's it from me. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget that link where you can download extra resources, printouts and see some more videos. Thank you for supporting this event. Do remember there's lots of other events that you can join in and learn different skills. Have a great rest of your day and take care.